I hate to say I told you so, but the Reds have spent some money. Supply and demand is my favourite game, and it turns out the winner takes it all. I saw the sign a long time ago, and even when we thought it might be slipping through our fingers, it was clear if you listen to your heart. Now, many might say that Newcastle were outsmarted, taken for a joyride, but they can't erase and rewind. The main offender said, I don't want to be dancing on my own anymore. I have a dream. And he sent out an SOS. It must have been love, because Arnie said, gimme, gimme, gimme. And now Liverpool fans all over will be having a carnival thinking about their new Fernando. Mamma mia. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the latest edition of the Late Challenge podcast. I am Mo Stewart, Poet Laureate. This here is Gareth Roberts. We are going to be talking about everything that's just happened, and the breaking news is we don't actually know anything.
Well, I mean, we bought Isak. I think we can be fairly certain on saying that. And that's good, isn't it?
I hope so, because otherwise I wasted like half an hour putting all that together.
Guehi, well, we're all in the same boat, aren't we? We're all refreshing, various feeds, looking at Twitter, looking at BBC, wondering what the hell has gone on. It looked like it was absolutely nailed this afternoon. He's gone down to London. Our boys have gone down to London to make it happen. He's had a medical. He's sitting off with Liverpool staff. And then Palace have gone, actually, we haven't got this fella, and the manager's kicking off, and blah, blah, blah. And now we're just in this no man's land. Some reporters are saying a deal sheet's gone in. That still doesn't mean it's defo done either. So yes, we shall wait. But either way, I mean, I think it would obviously feel disappointing if for whatever reason Guehi now doesn't come. But by the way, lads, we've just signed an unbelievable striker for a lot of money after a summer-long saga, and he will now wear red and score loads of goals for Liverpool. So can we enjoy that bit?
Yeah.
Can we enjoy that bit? And can we not bother with the pieces about how's him and Ekitike going to fit into the same side? Let's worry about that later. We signed a belter of a player. He's coming to Liverpool. We're going to see him. He's going to score goals. We've started the season with 3 out of 3. Can we enjoy that bit first?
Yes, we can. And I've got some Swedish beverages here to enjoy that. I know you're not a big cider fan. No. Unfortunately, Sweden don't do a lot of other beers, or not any that I could find in my corner shop. So you can come with me, or you can sit this one out. It's up to you. But I'm very much in the same plan as you. Let's enjoy the moment. Like, it doesn't matter. We aren't the coaches of Liverpool Football Club. We aren't the ones who are going to have to put them in the same team and work all that out.
And it's fine, we'll play loads of footy.
We'll play loads of games.
We'll play loads of footy. And you know what? Nobody who supports Liverpool knows that, needs telling, that, we no longer have Luis Diaz. Tragically, we no longer have Diogo Jota. We've sold Nunes. Like, all of those players were here and getting minutes last season. And so it's not mad in this day and age with this many games. Like, I think I read something today that, when we come back after the fucking international break, we play Burnley.
Yep.
But then it's like, isn't it something like 6 games in 17 days, I think I'm going to say?
In 3 different competitions, yeah.
So, quite a lot of fixtures to get stuck into. And we saw last season, I thought, that yes, we won the league, but Arne relied on a small core of players, basically. And so there's loads of people with shitloads of minutes at the top, and loads of people, well, not quite a few at the bottom with not that many minutes. And I think this time he'll try and guard against what you could see was a bit of burnout. And I don't mean when they all had the pink flamingos and they'd won and they had the... No. I mean, we're talking about February time when they lost the League Cup final. Yeah, League Cup final. Obviously, PSG were eventual winners and all that, but nevertheless, I think that pissed the manager off. Even Fulham, we were still after points at that point, weren't we? Yeah. And, we were bad. And if it looked as though, we could maybe do with a bit of rotation. So I get it. I understand the media churn 24/7, never stops and all that kind of stuff. And you could argue, even us, with our small but beautifully formed podcast, are part of it. But God, like I say, just enjoy it, man. Like, we signed this boss player after going through the absolute mill, and we get to laugh at Luke Edwards.
Okay, so we're going to do both of those things, but let's start with the Isak deal. So let's talk about the roller coaster that we've all been on. Like, how has have you been in, out, think we're going to do it, think we got no chance? Like, how's it been for you? At what point were you like, yeah, he's coming?
On Isak, my stance, my head, if you like, was it always felt more likely than not. And the only bit that I was unsure about was whether the Saudis would take it personally, basically, and whether they'd say, nah, we're used to getting our own way, and when we don't get our own way, we start butchering people. So we're not gonna take this from Liverpool. But it seems like they did finally see sense. I mean, they did the embarrassing stuff of going round to his house and that ending up in the media, which looked pretty small time.
It was really bad, wasn't it?
Yeah.
On the day of the game between the two teams as well. Like,
I mean, just it conjures up all kinds of mad images that in my head. I can just picture like Alexander in his Bills, Sky Sports News on, drinking his orange juice, and then the boys knock round. He's like, "Fuck, do you want like?" We're just trying to convince you to stay at Newcastle. Lad, like I said.
we just want to talk.
And yeah, and I think whatever happened in that meeting, and who knows, one day we may find out. I feel like the other side of that, they just went, right, it's not happening, is it? So, maybe we all just need to crack on here. And it's funny, isn't it, that like it's been dragged out for sort of almost, it's felt like maximum drama. And then the end result is we get him, they get Wissa, they get another striker as well, and it's just like,
was it all worth it?
Yeah, you could have just done this weeks ago, lads. You know what I mean? And Newcastle would have had strikers for the 3 games they've played so far. So
2 of which were ended 0-0, by the way. Just an FYI. As for Liverpool, as you mentioned, we are 3 from 3. We will actually get on to talk about the football.
Other Ian's asked a very important question in the comments.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, we do want to make it interactive tonight. And he has said, more importantly than any of this, have you had any decent crisps?
Wow.
Yes, we have.
I can see now why you wanted to interject with this. Yeah, we had the Wagyu beef and honey mustard from the farm shop stock. And yes, Savour Smiths. Oh, these were
beautiful,
very good.
Really good.
I'm still not really over the wild mushroom and garlic from last week, but these have almost made... These are the Alexander Isak of crisps. Honestly,
they are very good. The Brannigan's vibes for me, which is the highest praise you can possibly give any crisp. So yeah, I would give the Robbo stamp to them. BBC Sports senior football correspondent about 3 minutes ago says Marc Guehi is in real kind of jeopardy. A deal sheet is now in, but it's now down to Palace. Everything's in place, but they wanted at least 2 new centre-backs in the door. They've definitely got one, JD Canvo from Toulouse, but he wanted another one. They wanted the Igor fella, and he went to West Ham. It's left them all in a bit of a pickle. Yeah, thanks for that, Sammy. That's it. I did nothing new. Moving on.
The thing is, though, I understand from Palace's point of view why that JD Canvo is a 19-year-old kid who's played literally 14 senior games. To replace your captain who plays pretty much every game. It's not really the same. I don't know whether or not... So there's rumours that Palace pulled out of the Igor Julio deal because of a medical issue. There's rumours that West Ham just went in and offered him more money. All kinds of things. Did he say no? Did they say no? Whatever. But the fact is that that JD Canvo appears to be the only centre-back they've got in. Now... Devil's advocate, and I said this at the beginning of the day, that I wouldn't have wanted to be Steve Parish because, like, you've got 2 options. One, you sell Guehi and you potentially piss off your manager so much that he wants to leave. And with Bayer Leverkusen sacking Ten Hag, or on that later, there's a good job open for him. Or you keep Guehi, keep Glasner happy, but then you lose out on 35 million quid because he can basically leave for nothing, whatever. So those seem to be the 2 options, and most people are like, but Glasner will understand. He knows the business of football, blah, 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 blah. Turns out he doesn't understand. Turns out he's absolutely fucking livid.
Yeah, I mean, he is on the way in that, allegedly there was some kind of meeting in March where, being put to him about the quandary that Palace find themselves in. And he'd said, well, as long as people come in, I'm happy for them to go out. But if that isn't the case, I'm not. But then they've reached this point. They've reached a point where deal sheets have even gone in. And then we're just left in this slight no man's land as we're trying to do a podcast. Cheers for that, Everton. The whole point in putting it at 7 o'clock was that Everton was meant to be done. But anyway, I kind of think he does surely have to recognise the club's position here. So Steve Parish a few weeks ago, when they had the whole, no, you're not actually getting back in the Europa League and you have got to play Conference League football, basically said then, well, we're 20 million quid down now of not being in the Europa League. And look, Palace have done incredibly well. Everyone was made up for them when they won the FA Cup. Not so made up when they won the 50p because they beat us. But, they've done incredibly well, but they have got to sell at the right time. And, it's 35 million on the table now. If it's left till January, which is the only other option, beyond that, it goes for nothing, obviously. But January, what are people going to pay for him in January? 10?
Yeah.
12?
Nada.
Not 35.
No. And I mean, if he comes to some foreign clubs, they could kind of agree a deal with him for nothing at that stage already. So he could sign a pre-contract agreement to move to Barcelona or Juventus, say, next summer for nothing in January. So it really is now or never. And speaking of time, officially, according to the BBC Sport website, Premier League says teams have until 1 a.m. to submit the full paperwork for signings. Now, according to some people online, both teams have signed the deal sheet, but Palace could still
pull it. Yeah,
could pull it. So these discussions between whoever they need to be between could still go on for another 5.5 hours. Just letting you know. We could be that long before we know. But then, obviously, the Isak news dropped till 1 o'clock yesterday morning. So I guess it feels like
I just don't want it to be a thing, me, and I'm sure it won't be. But even in the right now, sure, yes, we want him. Yes, we can all see the need for another senior centre half. There's the whole situation around Kanate and his form, albeit that he played better against Arsenal, much better. The interest from Real Madrid and all this kind of stuff. But I just kind of think, if for whatever reason it doesn't happen, can we not just still say, well, Vert, Ekatike, Kerkez, Frimpong, Leone, Isak, except can't we just still say this is good, And we're 9 points out of 9, having not played well yet, haven't played 2 of the hardest fixtures of the season, haven't got a win from a fixture we drew last season away, and a win from a fixture we drew last season at home. We're doing all right here.
Yeah.
This is an all right situation. And look, I want Guehi as well, of course I do. And you can play both sides, and he looks good on the ball, and scored a nice goal, and all that.
Yeah.
But Joe Gomez was all right when he came on.
He was. And we're going to... Actually, we should... Now is probably a good time to talk about Joe Gomez, because he's been, for the second summer running, he's been a bit of a pawn in someone else's game, in as much as it looked like for a long time today and the last couple of days that he was going to be off and his move would be sanctioned away once Guehi came in. First of all, it looked like he was going to go to AC Milan. Then they didn't have time to do a deal. Then it looked like he was going to go to Brighton.
Yeah.
As it stands, neither of those things have happened. To be honest, if Palace are so desperate for centre-halves and Liverpool are happy to sanction him moving if Guehi comes in, maybe we could have offered him to Palace. Does that seem like such a crazy idea? It's a South London boy. He came from Charlton. I know that Charlton and Palace are rivals, but I mean, we're all old enough and ugly enough to know that that doesn't really matter anymore. I mean, does that seem too obvious to have happened? Surely someone's at least mentioned that in the halls.
I feel kind of comfortable he stayed, I've got to be honest. I mean, I still, like I say, I still want Guehi, and I know Joe's record and all the rest of it, but equally, I don't know. I live and pray that, maybe there's a season where he's not.
Yeah.
And if he is, he's an asset.
I am a fully card-paying member of the Joe Gomez
Yeah,
Appreciation
he's
Society.
good player.
I love him. And I love him as a footballer. I love him as a human. I would have been very sad to see him leave, although this is the first time I would have understood it from everyone's perspective. Because it might be, if Guehi comes and he stays, it might be that he doesn't even make the bench for quite a lot of games. Like, obviously, we're talking about those 6 games in 16 days. Like, you'd expect him to play against Galatasaray. Like, you'd expect him to play against Southampton in the cup, in the League Cup.
But you could drop Konate if he's shit again, which is not beyond the realms given how we started the season.
True. I also think it's quite ironic the fact that we're actually playing Palace at Selhurst Park in like 3 weeks.
Any spares?
It's going to be a interesting game. It's mad how we've had Newcastle and now we're going to Crystal Palace and they're both away from home. Like while all this has been going on, it's absolutely mad. But yeah, I'm very, very glad that we're going to get more Joe. Like, I keep saying this, he can't leave until he scores. Like that's the law. He hasn't scored yet, therefore he cannot leave the football club. Like, I don't know why people keep trying to sell him. He's not going. You got to score a goal.
I mean, it is just annoying for us. I mean, it's not all about us, obviously, but here we are. We've arranged it to do this way round. We thought we'd be jumping on here and it would all be like the perfect transfer window for Liverpool. Mo had his big things lined up at the start, and it's just taking a little bit of the shine. Like, all I keep thinking about here, and I keep thinking, is it appropriate for me to quote this on a live show? But I'm going to go for it. Here we go. What I kept thinking was, we were going to jump on, we were going to say how boss it is, we were going to say how perfect it is, and then all I can hear in my head right now is Mr. Wolf saying, let's not start sucking each other's dicks just yet.
Honestly, when you said, I don't know if I can say this, my mind went to all different dark places. So I'm really pleased that was what you came up with.
It was just Mr. Wolf. Just Mr. Wolf, don't worry.
But it's absolutely true. like absolutely true. And that's kind of why I'm still kind of refreshing.
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, the thing is, like, why we're being talking, I mean, like, okay, go to Ornstein, nothing. Go to Joyce, nothing. All Joyce he's done is retweet Gary Jacob. Gary Jacobs just said, deal sheet lodged, maybe back on. Come on, we need more than this. Yes. Someone must know.
Maybe I should try and send a text out to some of the people I know, see if they'll respond. They won't respond. It was a joke. Yeah, it's unsatisfactory. I think the fact that this is just before an international break as well means that, like, there's so much time and space for all these things to exist.
It's not a slam and shut. I mean, they always say slam shut. And then basically now you're saying deal sheet. Then you're saying, and you've got till 9 p.m. You've just been saying somewhere 1 a.m. And it's like, that's not a slam and shut then, is it? That's a very quietly close it. Just start to turn the latch down, look outside at everyone and go, don't know. Because if you slam and shut it, done. It's over.
I still feel a bit of a breeze.
Yeah. But you've left it cracked open a little bit, haven't you? Be back later on, let you know.
By the way, before we go deep into the Luke Edwards stuff, because that is still funny and we have to still cover it, I want to kind of pick up on something that I've seen Steve Hall tweet, and shout out to you, Steve, and a few other people have picked up on as well. The fact that there's been so much talk about Isak's bad behaviour in getting a deal, in refusing to play, refusing to train, and Johan Wissa's bad behaviour in refusing to play and taking all of the Brentford stuff off his socials, and how it's a terrible thing for football that these players are going around doing it. Well, guess what? Their moves have happened. Model professional Marc Guehi literally played and scored for Crystal Palace last night. His may not happen. So, when people are deciding about who's a great person, who's a bad person, what I always said was, you do what is necessary. Newcastle and Brentford were putting things in place to make it necessary for those players to go to those lengths. Crystal Palace, it seemed, did not. And now they have. How Marc Guehi reacts if he doesn't get his move will be interesting to see. But all I'm saying is, don't be out there judging people you don't know based on a small portion of all the information out there. Because
what we've seen quite clearly as well, I mean, if we're going to talk about Luke Edwards, is, he's being used in a certain way by certain people to get a certain part of the story over. And then quite clearly from elsewhere, there are other bits of the story. And it's back to the thing that I always say to everyone about all of this, every time. It's not a court of law. It's not the Crown Court. It's not any kind of court. And therefore, people do not have to tell you the truth. They tell you a PR version that suits their version. And it even right down to what's finally being paid for Isak and everything. I've heard a million different versions of that already. And it's like, well, 5 million was clawed back off Isak. And so that takes it to this. And so that means they've ended up with 130. So they're saying it's a win. And Liverpool are saying we didn't pay that and that's what they wanted, and once upon a time they wanted 150, so we're saying it's a win. I'm saying I'm not asked. I'm saying what I said before. We get to see this player in red, and he's a player who I saw bully Virgil van Dijk, who I saw beat Virgil van Dijk, who I saw score against us, and I thought, wow, there's not many players that do that. And the only players who've outscored him in the last 2 seasons is Mo Salah and what's his name? Haaland, that's the fella. So
and we've got one of them already.
Yeah, so we've gone and got real pedigree. We've done the thing that I've heard people say for years that they wanted Liverpool to do, which was strengthen from a position of strength, fix the roof when the sun's shining, as I've seen Steven Gerrard say once upon a time. And we've done all of this, and to me as well, I'll wind this back and I'll wind you up if you're one of these people who used to send me voice messages or text me or whatever. All these weird people who got in touch with me saying I should organise a protest against these owners. And it was like, wow.
Wait, people would text you?
Well, voice notes. I got voice notes off one fella. But it was like, and really adamant that I should start a protest when we were in a season when we were heading for winning the league, to get the owners out. And I'm like, on what fucking basis? That is not the feeling. That might be your feeling. That might be where you're at. You might have your circle, if you like, on your social media, and you're all reinforcing the same point. I try and say abreast of what lots of different people are saying, and there was never a point where that was a thing. And I just felt like some people got ridiculous about it. Like they would give them no credit about anything ever. It's like, Kaisedo PR bid. Where is the PR in failing to sign a player? That is the worst PR I've ever seen in my life. And no one thought it was a good thing to not get him when you've tried to get him and you've gone public. So I didn't get it. And, I wonder now that we've done the business we've done in this window, and yeah, you can say finally, and it took them long enough, and there's plenty of times when they didn't do it. Get all that and agree. But finally, now that we have shown ambition, we have signed players of a certain calibre and quality, we have disrupted everyone else because they're going, wow, what are Liverpool doing? I mean, it's not quite Galacticos, but it's getting
off.
there. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Liverpool have broken the British transfer record twice in the same window. So the thing that I always think about this is like, you can understand in individual summers and individual windows where Liverpool could have done with a little bit extra here, a little bit extra there, and they've been very hardline. No. I understand people's frustration about that.
But stuff like this, yeah, I'll just read this. Sorry to interrupt you, but this is a classic. Gareth, yes, they're doing boss now, but we missed out on titles twice by a point. Well, I'm not being funny, mate. That isn't down to ambition of the owner, is it? One time it was like millimetres of a ball on a line. And I'm like, there is an element of that in football, lads.
Yeah.
And like, I just don't think everything can be rowed back to, we need to be outside with the pitchforks now. Like, 97 points or whatever, not winning you the league is really hard to take. But as an example, Arteta has been at Arsenal since 2019 and never got more than 89. So, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like I feel as though sometimes it's like so entrenched in this. Just try and be fair about it. Look at it in a fair manner. And so now, surely credit is due. And that's all I'm saying.
No, that's a fair point. What I was going to say, though, was that in those instances, in those individual instances, it's understandable people think, well, maybe just a little bit here, a little bit there. The point was, they were always going to do this. They just had to wait for the time when it would have the maximum impact. Wait for the time when we were at the front of the queue so we could actually be attractive to all the best players, that we'd had success so we could have all of this spending without it absolutely bankrupting us. Because we've got so much headroom in terms of, I think it was something like £700 million in the last financial year they brought in, and then they've made 200 million out of sales this summer. So they wanted to wait until they could absolutely afford it, till it was going to have, as I say, the maximum impact. And they've done it. Now, not everyone's going to agree with the way that they've done it, but this is what they were always working towards. And now that we've seen it in action, you can kind of understand it. But I do also agree that, look, no, everyone's not going to be happy at any point.
Oh no, yeah,
and so there's always,
but it was when it built up into something that was made, like, you know, made Twitter as an example. I know life isn't Twitter, but you know what I mean. It made it intolerable at times, because there was like a cabal of people who every day were on there saying, you know, like FSG out, FSG out, FSG out. There should be this, should be that. Fucking organise it then. Go on. And then because they couldn't organise it, it was then on me to organise it. And I didn't want to organise it because I was quite enjoying the fact that we were going for a title. And then guess what? We won the fucking thing. And so, yeah, look, you know, don't get me wrong, this doesn't therefore rub out the mistakes. It doesn't rub out the times when the defo should have gone and done something. They've undoubtedly been conservative in other windows and things like that. But equally, what they're doing now, all the teams certainly here and probably further afield into Europe, etc., are going, okay, now, seeing what Liverpool are doing
exactly.
here. And, you know, like, you know, fans are saying it, but you know, you wonder about, even in clubs, they must be thinking it. Fans are saying, just give Liverpool a title now, oh my God, look at that. Inside clubs, they'll be going, shit.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what are they doing there? You know, you got City who have already lost 2 games. And it's ridiculous to say, you know, they can't win it because they've lost 2 games. And I'm not going to say that. But
they're already significantly behind. And
now we've beaten Arsenal.
Yeah.
And so now, you know, that's ramped up the pressure on Arteta, like I say, who's been there since 2019, has had all of that time and £1 billion worth of money to build a squad, build a system, you know, create a team that is able to come to Anfield and play with a pair of bollocks and try and win the game. And yet he's created a team that turned up at Anfield and didn't have any bollocks and didn't really try and win the game. So here we are, not playing that well, with problems allegedly, all sweating about whether Guehi signed and all that. And we're top of the league with 9 points.
Yeah. So.
Get it!
Whey! I like the way you brought it back around to positivity there.
Yes.
It was a long journey, but we got there. So, our good friend, Mr. Edwards. Like, I don't know if you've seen, I'm sure you have seen, most people today have been, let's say, enjoying going back through some of his historic tweets over the last, it's not even just this summer, it goes back to like March, February, January, about how adamant he has been that Alexander Isak would not be leaving Newcastle, that the Saudi owners would be firm in their stance, that he's not going anywhere, that at some point they thought he was actually going to sign a new contract. And now I'm a journalist, you have been a journalist, so I'm not going to just unilaterally put the boot in on one. However, the reason why I do think that Luke Edwards deserves a bit of the shit he's getting is because he went out of his way to start being pissy with people on the internet. He went a long way.
Calling people simpletons and all that.
Yeah, it's just
like, you know, fair enough if you report on something at the time and then the situation changes. Get that. That happens.
Happens all the time.
Happens all the time, especially in football. But don't be a tit with it and then expect to be able to rewind from the situation of being a tit and saying, oh yeah, well, you know, I've just done my job and it's been so tough and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we get all that, mate. But you're literally a blurt with people.
Yeah.
So if you're a blurt with people will remember when you were a blurt and they will point out that you were a blurt when you try not to be a blurt. So you were a blurt and you were told then, you were told now, and it's going to be hard to roll back, mate. And that mad big thing he wrote was absolutely wild.
So yeah, my favourite part of it is the first line. As a high-ranking Liverpool official said this summer, if you want to know what's really happening at Newcastle United, read Luke Edwards in the Telegraph. Yeah, I was flattered. I only ever report what I'm told and learn. And that goes back to what you were saying. Just because they told you that doesn't mean A, it's true, or B, they were telling you because it's true. They were telling you that because they wanted you to tell the world it, whether it was true or whether it wasn't true. But yeah, really gives out Jake Humphries vibes a lot of the time.
Absolute LinkedIn post.
Very, very pleased with himself when he has no right to be.
Sorry, by the way, I've been tardy here on something we always do on this show, and I forgot because I was ranting. So Jack McLaren some time ago dropped £4.99 into the TLC pot and said, "Do you think Trent looks at the signings and starts at the signings we've made and starts to think, what have I done?" Every chance, I'd say.
Yeah.
Particularly, I know he's sort of done all right again in a game since, but perhaps when he's seeing that he's not getting in the England squad, and when he's realising that there's not a guaranteed place for him, who knows?
I mean, I wonder what he was thinking when he was watching yesterday. Szoboszlai won the game from right back and bang a free kick from 30 yards.
I couldn't believe with that, the line where he's saying, that the only time he's played at right back previously is the behind closed doors friendly against Stoke. And it's because it's not just about that he bangs in a 32-yard free kick, which was absolutely unbelievable, an absolute pearler right in the top corner. It's not just that. It's the fact that he looked so comfortable there. His positioning was really good. The passing was, some of the passes he played were unbelievable. The engine on him up and down all game, which we knew he had anyway. But it was like he'd been playing there for years, and it was like, bad lad.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even think Arne Slot probably thought he would be that good at it.
Well, he couldn't have done, surely.
It's just amazing. It was very much like having a version of Trent without all of the pitfalls. It was amazing. We are going to come on to talk about that game a little bit more, but
Corey Moore as well, sorry mate, $19.99.
Oh, nice.
Says, no stress, Robbo, well in, stick to your mind. In Jamaica we say, who laugh last, laugh best. There is a value in patience, though hard, and it is better to be who we are. Up the Reds. And Gareth Percival, Flyver, and he says, the Reds have got no money and we'll still win the league. Enjoy a pint to see you through this international break. Thanks, Gareth. Yeah. Great name and great sentiment. Friggin' international break, though.
So early.
I hate it, man. Just getting into things.
No, to be fair, as someone who has other responsibilities, let's say, it is nice to have a week off in the middle, but maybe not quite this soon. But we've spoken about Luke Edwards. There was a couple of things that he said that I do actually agree with. One of his tweets said, I think the signing of Wissa softens the blow of losing Isak. Bringing Nick Voltemada also a shrewd signing, but let's not sugarcoat things either. Wissa has behaved just as badly as Isak to force this move, and Newcastle buckled on Isak after months of saying they wouldn't. All this could have been done weeks ago, and they would have had a centre forward for the first 3 games of the season. Now, there is some heavy, heavy, heavy irony with him saying this now after everything else he said. But he's still right there, isn't he?
When did he turn into Ming the Merciless, the Hooded Claw? You know what I mean? What was that? What was Luke Edwards' voice there?
I'm just imagining him because, I don't imagine him typing this. I'm imagining him voice noting this tweet, speech to tweet, and because he's so angry that they turned the people who he's been defending all this time have turned and they've done the one thing that he told the world was not going to happen. So yeah, I went a bit Ming the Merciless.
Who was that? I'm trying to think about people who've done this before. Made
Duncan Castle's the one that I always think.
Yeah, there's him, isn't there? There was him. I remember inviting him on a podcast once upon a time when he was always sort of taking us on, me on, etc. And he wanted paying, and I was like,
no,
paying for you to come on, lad? Absolutely not. But who was the other one? I wasn't thinking of him. Stuart Brennan. That's who I was thinking of. What a guy. Remember that beaut?
Oh, yeah.
The Man City reporter. But I always think it's funny that, like they get themselves in these holes. I get that you're doing your job, lads. And there's ways and means to go about it. And, can't help but be fond of some of the people on our patch because A, I know them, and B, I'm used to reading the stuff all the time, etc. But, look at some of the weird shit, really weird shit that James Pearce gets sent. And I think he handles it really well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And, he's a good lad, James. He's a good, nice fella to have a pint with. And I think he handles it very gracefully. Like I say, given every single tweet, there's absolute wild animations and all kinds going on, and loads of people calling him fucking hamburger head or whatever else. And he just cracks on, doesn't he? And I'm like, that's probably what you should be doing. Luke, instead of just calling people simpletons and I have every sympathy for you if you think this deal's going to go through. How did that go, lads? Yeah. How did that go?
And I mean, even so, the stuff with James, even the people who are saying nice things about him, I think go over the top. It's a bit
every single picture that he puts up of him and his missus. punching.
It's like, oh, come on, man. We've all been there before. But the people who celebrate journalists who break stories like they're footballers, I just think it's a bit weird. I
get it if it's tongue in cheek. I feel like a lot of the people who put some of the stuff, who reply to say Joyce's tweets, it's quite funny. Do you know what I mean? I feel like a lot of that's tongue in cheek.
I hope so, but I mean, you just see lots and lots of them, and it's just after everything, it's just back posts, and it's it was funny the first time, but hearing it 50 times. Yeah. By the way, while we've been talking, Ornstein, who gets a lot of these kind of fan tweets, he seems to believe that Guehi is staying at Palace now. Yeah. It says Guehi is expected to stay at Crystal Palace despite an agreement to take the defender to Liverpool being reached on deadline day. He completed at least part of a medical after a fee of 35 million was agreed between clubs. Personal terms on a 5-year contract till 2030 were also in place. But what wasn't in place was another player for Palace. So it looks like, and again, the fact that he was willing to play last night, and he wasn't willing, even though he was, when they were trying to get him to say something about it in the post-match interview, he wasn't being definitive. He was like, I've enjoyed playing here and blah, blah, blah. But he wasn't saying that I'm leaving. So I actually am not surprised that if they'd have come to him and said, look, we need you to stay, he'd have been like, all right.
I think as well, like you say, it's the manager stuff, isn't it? And if he, it seems that he's extremely adamant that this was promised to him in March, that this was the crack. And it's well, we've won the FA Cup, we've won the Community Shield, Eze's gone already. And it's you've got to give him something to work with here. And look, they've probably done themselves out of 20 million quid if he's not going to come to us. Because, like I say, what are you going to... If he goes in January, which you imagine Palace have a crack at replacing him then as well, it'll be the same kind of situation. But Liverpool, or certainly anyone else who might come to the table, then, no one's offering 35 when he's free in the summer. Do you know what I mean? So...
I mean, you could look at it from the other point of view as well and say that Liverpool were, because they were adamant that Palace would eventually buckle to their whim. So they were the ones who were like, nope, not going over 35, not going over 35, not going to 40, blah, blah, blah. Last year his deal, blah, blah, blah. And to a certain extent, you can understand it if it gets there eventually. That's the thing with playing chicken, is that sometimes you get smashed in the face if you wait too long.
I mean, it doesn't even seem to be that though, does it? It's as simple as they haven't got a replacement in, and so
that's what I mean. If they'd have not played the chicken and paid an extra bit of money and got him in, then that wouldn't, if they'd have paid £40 million, for example. My suspicion is that Palace would have let that deal go and then gone and got a replacement with it, rather than wait until the last day. But the flip side of that is the waiting as late as they did with Isak appears to have worked. So And I mean, they did the same thing with Florian Wirtz in getting his price down. And that's just the way that Liverpool do business. And I don't think there is any way of doing business that's foolproof. Sometimes it will get it right. Sometimes you get it wrong.
Yeah, and look, we've driven some hard bargains. We've done well. We've got good money for players going out the other way. And like I say, we've still had a belter of a transfer window here. And so all we can do now is hope that the Konate we've seen against Arsenal is the Konate we see more regularly. B, hope that Joe Gomez stays fit, and if we have to lean on him, he's able to play and he's able to stay fit. And then also hope that the young Italian lad who's come in is good. I mean, we've all seen the little flashes, but not actually seeing him play. Don't see the point in blagging that I have. Quite happy to say that. Funny enough, talked about this, mentioned on the Patreon show just before that. Done the overlap today, so an overlap show will be out tomorrow, and then another one in the following week. But in one of those shows anyway, Carragher referenced a point I'd made previously where he was like, why are there these people who insist they've seen every fucking player in the world? And it's like, it isn't, you can't possibly be watching all of these games that you claim to watch because you would never do anything else. You'd barely be able to fit in having a shit and wiping your arse because you're like, oh yeah, I watched him, watch that league, watch that. You'd be about 50 stone and you'd have to have a drip to be fed and just be like, what, permanently 10 tellies watching all these leagues all around the world.
As someone who did do that for a little while, the thing
you know what I mean?
The thing you're missing out is that you need to be not sleeping. So you basically
that as well,
up till 5 a.m. pretty much every day, watching bits here, there, and everywhere. And even then, like, you can be watching something, but are you really watching it? Like, and this is the difference, right? So with someone like Leone, I remember watching the Napoli-Parma game where he played against Lukaku and played really well. But I wasn't specifically watching that game for him. I was watching the game because I was interested in the game. And then he kind of took over my interest. So that can happen. So you can say, oh yeah, I watched this league, I watched this team. You weren't necessarily focused on that one player. Like, yeah, there's 22 of them out there. Like, and the cameras only show you so much. So even if you have watched a player a few times before, that doesn't mean to say you know everything about them. Like, when I'm talking about someone, like from another league or whatever, I will watch them, but I will also research them. So I'll find out information from other people who do watch that league and nothing else, or do watch that team and nothing else. So I can be informed by someone else's informed opinion. It's not just about me saying, oh yeah, I've seen him, so I know he's a genius. It's like, no, mate, no. Like you say, no one spends that much of their time doing it. And
if you do, go outside.
Get a girlfriend.
Smell the fresh air. Thanks, Paul Roachus. Throne 499 and says, up the mighties, have a bevy, lads. Gareth, if you come into Paul's bar this week, I still won't be there. Off on me goals. Another pint at the pub. Nice one, mate. I will try and get in there. I was actually having a bevy around Crosby over the weekend. Went and watched the Mighty Mariners. But we didn't go to Paul's bar. Sorry, Paul. But I do recommend Paul's bar. In the Waterloo area of our fine city, county, whatever you want to get into. Yeah, it's fantastic. Great little bar. And thanks, Paul, for throwing in. And I will get myself back in there because I did really enjoy it. Yeah, Marine lost 1-0, which was unfortunate. Was not what we wanted.
I didn't come, isn't it?
That maybe it was, mate. Yeah. I mean, I tried to blame it on my mate Craig, who'd never been to a Marine match before, and I said, "Well, clearly you're the jinx." Yeah. They lost to a free kick.
Oh, really?
Funnily enough, yeah. But we should talk. Look, we should talk about that, about Arsenal, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Because we beat Arsenal, and that was good.
It was very good. Yeah, I guess so. I mean. No, I'll say I was going to do a line on Harvey, but I'll say we can save that to the end. Let's talk about Arsenal now.
Yeah, let's enjoy that.
Yeah, let's enjoy
the top of the league.
We are top of the league, and it was one of those games where it's still early, and it felt a bit early, but because of all of this transfer hoo-ha that was happening around it, I don't know about you, but it kind of felt like a bit of a low-key build-up. Like, there wasn't as many people talking about that game as there normally would be.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it's because what can you say? Like, I mean, like if you're previewing the game and there's only 3 games gone, you can't sort of, you can't give it the title, decide the thing. You can't say like decisive blow one way or the other or any of that sort of stuff because it just doesn't land, does it? I mean, it's fantastic that we beat them, don't get me wrong. And like I said before, I feel like that now puts a bit of pressure on Arteta. It means like everyone's going to talk about everything Arsenal do from here on in if they weren't anyway.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic for us. I mean, what a way to go into the international break. 3 wins, belter, and 3 wins in the fashion we've done it, where you're like, I haven't really played that well, but that'll do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that was probably the reason for the build-up, not being what you might expect it to be. Still thought it, and the game itself, the way it unfolded and the way Arsenal set up, it was all a bit stalematey, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean? And they went with big lads in midfield and left a new lad that they paid a shitload of money for on the bench, which I found quite strange. But it's very Arteta, isn't it?
It is.
And this is the thing, what's he now? He's coming up to 6 years at Arsenal, and they still haven't won away at Liverpool or Man City in that time.
Nope.
Arsenal generally haven't won at Anfield since Arteta played for them 13 years. And to me, I just found it weird. I found it weird from, I'm fucking made up. I don't really give a shit. You know what I mean? If I'm being honest.
Skin in the game.
Like we've won and the way we won was fantastic. It was a fantastic moment. Welled up a bit, to be honest. It was one of them. Tight moments. It was with me lad, so that was boss as well. So got to actually be a big moment in a big game. Lads next to me, get in. So all of that was fantastic. But from their perspective, I just thought, if there's one time where you're looking at it and you're looking at how teams have got at us in the first few games, surely you go for it. And Eze literally caused us problems in the Community Shield the other week. And it's like...
And the last 3 times he came to Anfield, he's been an absolute danger.
I just don't get it.
No, and look, I understand why they wanted... Like the Marino, he's good at pressing, and that seemed to be a big part of their game plan. But I just think that if you're going to do that, then maybe put Eze out on the left. Like, Martinelli hasn't been in good form, and while he had a couple of good games against Trent a few years ago, those days have long since faded. So I'd have absolutely played Eze instead of Martinelli, let alone Marino. But if you think about what you're saying about what we have been not good at in the first 2 games and what they're very good at, like, how confident were you before the game? Were you a little bit like, don't fancy any set pieces here?
Yeah, I was worried about that, obviously, because you know how good they are at them, and then you've looked at, you sort of put that against our defending so far, and I thought he might go Robertson as an example, but what do I know, because he didn't, and then Kirk has had his best game for us.
He was fantastic.
Fair play to him, and. And then you can see the method in that as well, because you're like, well, if they dropped him, what would that have done for his confidence? So instead, he stuck with him. And then it looks like, he's probably taken some little bits of advice on board, I would suggest. So he didn't look quite as rash as he had been at other times in other games for us so far. So, and even the Szoboszlai thing of him being at right back, I actually thought, well, could he maybe put him in midfield for this one? Because, maybe even drop Wirtz. Just because, you could see there was a battle ahead. And like I say, how they are in set pieces as well. But so I was sort of going into it, not scared, but almost thinking, I'd be all right with a point. Do you know what I mean? After winning away at Newcastle and, everything else that's gone on and, new players settling, etc., etc., I'll take a point out of this one.
It's funny because a manager's never going to say that, particularly a Liverpool manager playing at home. But if you listen to him in the press conference where he was talking about, it's not going to take a record points total to win this league. Everyone's so competitive. Everyone's going to drop points, all that kind of gear. Then that is basically saying, like, without saying it, if Liverpool drop points here, let's not all lose our shit. Because we can't still be all right. And it's almost like him saying, like, if there is a draw, then we can deal with it. you could always look at it and say, well, we drew last year and didn't stop us winning the league. So I thought that was very much Liverpool's mindset, that a draw wouldn't be bad if it came to that, but they were always going to try and win. Like you mentioned about Wirtz, I was very much of the opinion, he has to play. And I'm glad that Slot was the same, because even if you think it's a game where he might struggle, and he did, he has to get through those. These are the tests that he has to get to the other side of. Like, when he came off, it looked like he was like riddled with cramp. And he was asked about that in the press conference afterwards, and Slot was like, it was his welcome to the Premier League moment. Like, he had cramp in places that he didn't know you could get cramp.
I think as well, you can just see as well that, the whole attritional aspect of the Premier League, which I think, people who've watched English football all this time, like me, like, you're like, it's a fart league compared to what it once was. But there's still more physical stuff than in other European leagues, quite clearly, because when elbows and shoulders are flying and that, and the sort of knock you off the ball type stuff, I think you can see him going.
Yeah. Well,
I'd get a free kick in the Bundesliga for that.
He's used to more.
And you don't hear, and yet the non-stop running, the non-stop harry, and the non-stop closing down, of which Dominic Szoboszlai is top of the league on. Clearly, he didn't have to do that either. And I think I thought, for all this talk that just typical football media again, isn't it? Like, let's look for a reason to write him off after 3 games. Okay, lads. I thought second half you saw what he does bring to the table. Do you know what I mean? You saw it in flashes again. Oh yeah, there he is. And I think he'll be fine. And it's fine that he takes a bit of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not his fault that the transfer fee is what it is. He's clearly confident. He clearly backs himself. He's still trying stuff. It doesn't look like he's getting down. It just looks like maybe he's got to be a little bit of time where he's like, And like I say, it's a bit like what I was saying before about, like we signed Isak, like the 3rd most expensive player in the history of transfers in this country, and yet somehow we're like, well, how's this going to work with a and like, come on, man,
they're good players. They're good players. They're good players. Work it out. They just need time. Like, even people were losing their mind about Mo Salah saying last week that he thought Arsenal were favourites. It's because they've had time to work together and they understand each other. And
that's my point about how they arrived and how they played. Like, they should be coming and taking us apart when we've got all these new faces, when we're not playing well, when we're not defending well. That was his opportunity, Lego had, to turn up here and show us what Arsenal are all about and put a marker down. And yet instead, it was heading for a draw. Szoboszlai pulls that out the bag. Happy days, see you later, Arsenal. And now everyone's on his case again, saying, well, you've bottled it again, mate. And then he's coming out with shite afterwards, saying Liverpool was suffering. When was that bit? mate, he's managed 1 shot on target. Where was the suffering bit?
And that shot was from Madueke from the corner, and it was like, it wasn't really
fairly comfortable save for Alisson, wasn't it? Yeah, like, it's like, what are you on about?
Let's talk a little bit more about Stevie Szoboszlai, and I'm calling him Stevie Szoboszlai because that was the most Gerrard performance I've seen from him. He got a lot of the Gerrard shouts in his early Liverpool career, and I do think it was a little bit of like, hold on there, let's let him get settled in first. But that was Stevie-esque. Like, I put in my match report, he basically put on his Superman cape. He was just like, I've got this, lads, don't worry. And a little up to stat for you. His strike against Arsenal was Liverpool's latest winning goal via a direct free kick in the Premier League since Steven Gerrard.
Oh,
in the 87th minute against Aston Villa.
Oh, yeah.
Delta. Yeah, first day of the season, that. I remember it very well. But yeah, it was...
I'm sure I watched that in the pub, and our blue nose mate was with us, and he got off because he said we were celebrating too much. Sorry, Carl, you won't be watching.
No, I mean, to be fair, an 87th minute winner away from home on the first day of the season, like, you're going to celebrate.
Yeah.
Like, you'd have to be mad or made of stone not to. So, yeah, sorry, Carl, you're always out. You're never going to go in with that one. But the thing that I thought was crazy about Szoboszlai is that he's played against Harvey Barnes, he's played against Gabriel Martinelli, he played against Eze. And apart from, like, on 2 occasions with Eze, none of them even tried to run at him. Like you're thinking you've got a midfielder playing at right back, not really used to it. Let's go and test him. Like, to be fair, on the other side, Madueke was running at Kirkes loads, and Kirkes stood up to it really well, but they weren't even trying. Like, is he that good already that they were just like, I'm not going to get any change out of this fella? It's unbelievable.
I mean, a more general point about Szoboszlai that I would make is that I feel as though lots of people, wrote him off this summer and said he was going to be sort of odd man out.
Yeah.
And I feel as though, can't know obviously because I haven't asked him, but I feel as though that might have seeped into his conscience a bit, because it felt even before the season started, so in some of the pre-season games, as though he had a bit of a fuck you about him. You know what I mean? Like he was running a bit harder, showing his ability a bit more, stamping his authority on games a little bit more. And I feel like that's ended up into the season as well. Because, I mean, you can always say you might be reading too much into these things, but even the celebration felt a bit fuck you.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't say fuck you or flash the V's, but there was a bit of a, what you on about?
I mean, he was
lad and boss.
There someone mocked up when he did the finger click, it was the same as Thanos. And it's a bit like, I mean, like, he's an absolute, like, if he's going to take on the Thanos mode and be turned into the supervillain, I'm here for it. But yeah, I'm absolutely the same as you. It's like, you saw all the talk about how he was going to be the odd man out, as you say, and he was just like, oh yeah.
How does it work? Like, genuinely, how does it work now, post international break, Burnley away? How do you drop Szoboszlai?
I don't know. I don't think you do. So, ironically enough, after all of what I've said previously about Wirtz and Arsenal, about how these are the tests you get through, I feel like that might be the one that he doesn't play in, Burnley away. And not because Burnley are groks in like they are in the Sean Dyche era. I just think that the next game is Atletico at home. And I believe that Germany have got 2 games in this break. I'm just going to try and check that now. So he will probably have 2 games to play. I don't know whether or not they're at home or whatever, but I feel like, oh yeah, so they've got Northern Ireland actually and Slovakia. So yeah, well, the Northern Ireland game's at home, so he'll be all right. But the point is, Szoboszlai, he's probably going to play 2 games for Hungary, but he'll
be all right.
He'll be all right. Yeah. He's a man machine, and like you say, it's like
he's on free kicks now.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, he's on free kicks now. To be honest, say it quietly, he might be on pens as well soon.
Well.
But he's almost undroppable right now, and that won't stay that way forever. Obviously, like we were saying before, this season we're going to see much more rotation, but right now I'm not dropping him. I don't think Arne Slot is either.
I feel pleased with myself because I've just down thumbed on the live blog on BBC. It's just come up. Chris Sutton. Alexander Isak is selfish and he is disrespectful to his teammates. Well, he's one of ours now, lad, so do one.
Yeah. Oh, see, I'm not gonna get into a rant about Chris Sutton, but put it this way, he's not my favourite pundit out there. I think my rule is you can be reactionary, but you have to believe what you say. And I don't feel like he believes everything that he says. I feel like he says a lot of it just because he wants to get a reaction out of people. So you're not getting any rise out of me, Christopher. No way. We've done nearly an hour already, and we've not even spoken about Champions League draw, which I wanted to speak about. So let's do that real quick. Real Madrid again. Hey, the fifth consecutive time of all the last Liverpool's five Champions League campaigns, we've been up against Real Madrid. It is at home again, which makes me think that, we've got a better chance of winning than if it's in the Bernabeu. And it is in the same week as Man City again. It's almost like we're just doing a regen of last season, which, to be honest, I wouldn't mind. I
mean, I love the way, even off the draw, it was like, let's try and ramp this up straight off then and start talking about Trent's return. I mean, he might not even be playing.
No? He didn't play in the last one, did he?
I don't know. Worry about sounding entitled, but just bored of seeing games against Real Madrid, to be honest. I mean, I thought the whole point of messing around with the format of things was to make things more interesting. And, if you keep pulling the same games out there. I did read somewhere, so I believe this to be true, but, don't want someone telling me I'm wrong. So I'll say I think it's right, but, go and check. But I'm sure I read somewhere that next season, should we be in the Champions League, which I suggest we will be, if that happens again, they'd redraw it.
Yep.
Because you can't do 3 in a row.
Yep.
Change it to 2 in a row because we're already bored.
And as I say, we have played them in 5 consecutive Champions League campaigns.
Just like,
come on now.
Although if Connor fancies recreating that tackle, that'll be all right by me.
I'm waiting. That's probably one of my favourite things about that game is going to be a moment where Mbappe is like lining up, ready for kickoff. He just looks across and looks at Connor. And Connor's there like,
"Aye, lad, remember
it's me again." So that would be great. I have to say though, people talking about how difficult it looks as a set of 8 games. It's always going to be difficult. It's the Champions League. They're all good teams, but starting at home, finishing at home, in a situation where if we get to game number 8 and we've got a win to go through, we're at home to Karabag. Sound. I'm happy with that.
Absolutely. And I'll say it again. I wasn't messing about Crystal Palace. If you've got a spare, give me a shout. I'd like to go. And I'd also like to go to a European away, which I know I have zero chance of doing. So if someone out there just, you'd have a little spare and you think, Robbo said on the show he wouldn't mind going. Oh yeah, here's a shout.
Yeah.
I'm not beyond begging for tickets.
And what should you be? No, absolutely.
You only live once, and I fancy a European away. It's been a long time.
And there's some tasty ones as well. So like
Frankfurt would be good.
Yeah, I mean like Galatasaray, Frankfurt, Marseille, have all got reputations of being quite spicy at times. So yeah, any of them would be good. And obviously Inter Milan. I mean, Liverpool went to San Siro last season, so I mean, it's been quite a few times now. So it doesn't hold quite as many surprises, but again, Milan's a beautiful city. So
I've never been.
Get to go, absolutely go.
I think as well, like someone's just said it in the comments there, and it's a good point that given that we won the league, and then given what we've gone and done in the transfer market, albeit the slight disappointment of the Guehi situation, but we'll move on. We'll be all right. Imagine. Let's take our hat off and put the hat on of those other clubs. They defo didn't want to get us.
No,
they
didn't.
I mean? And I genuinely wonder what the reaction is in Madrid. Okay, now them again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's face it. Their manager didn't enjoy the last time he came home to Anfield, did he? He got humped 4-0 for Leverkusen. So yeah, he was very much the same. Like, and also, I think from his point of view, Alonso, he's like, right, so I've got to deal with this circus. I either don't play Trent and that's all everyone talks about, or I do play Trent and that's all everyone talks about. I don't know which way he's going to go, to be honest with you. We'll have to wait and see on that.
And I feel like if Trent does play, there will be no one saying do or don't do, whatever, including me, because I did do that. I'm of the belief that if there's a red shirt on the back, then we still get behind them. Won't be a red shirt on the back.
No. And I mean,
so let's get stuck in.
So I've seen a few people say that there's no need to I have seen a couple of people say there's no need, but it's like, the point is that he's an opponent.
Yeah.
You want him to play badly. And this is something that can potentially make it go badly. Although, I'm saying this now, let's not go overboard. All right?
But, think about how good Barca was.
Yeah.
That night. And what was one of the boss moments of it? Fabinho.
Suarez. Oh yeah, on Suarez.
Suarez, who was 1-1 of ours. Yeah. So if Trent plays and someone takes him out, I feel like Anfield would enjoy that.
You know what? It's all lined up. It's got to be Robbo. Surely it's got to be Robbo, and then it's got to be like, sorry, man. It'd be like the meme of Wesley Snipes where he's shooting the fellow and crying at the same time. It's like, I'm sorry, man. I got to do it to you.
It's Nicolas Buseca again. Is this 3 weeks on the run from Big Nick? He says, here's a little something towards an away trip, Gareth. 100 Aussie dollars.
Amazing. Yeah.
What? I tell you what, I keep looking in the back end of our YouTube channel, and I'm like, done all right this month in comparison to other months, and I'm like, just Nick, isn't it?
Yeah, honestly.
No disrespect to everyone else who's thrown in, thanks very much, but you know what I mean?
It's a shame you're in Australia, Nick. Otherwise, we'd invite you to our live show, which you should probably talk about on this show as well.
Oh, yeah, doing a live show. Oh, yeah. Fancy coming down to it? We have talked about this forever. It's actually booked. You can actually buy tickets for it. It is in November. It is on Mo's birthday. It is the 8th of November. It will involve us talking like we always talk, like this podcast. We'll get Kopi in, people in the audience. We have sold some tickets, so there'll definitely be people there.
Yes.
Good. And then you will also see the other side of Mo in that once we've done the talking bit and we've played some daft games and we'll do a quiz and we'll give out prizes and you can have some crisps, whatever. We'll sort all that side of it out. Mo will be spinning some love. And we'll all enjoy ourselves. And it's a nice little gaff. Yeah. It's good ale in there as well. I haven't even said where it is, have I?
Handyman
You say
Pub,
where it is.
Smith Brown Roads,
yeah.
Heart of South Liverpool.
Really nice beer if you're a bit of a real ale knobhead like I am. And even if you're not, you do the other stuff as well. Nice gaff, nice place, nice vibe. We want it to be a big loving little, late challenge community event. It's only a small gaff as well, so if you fancy coming, get your ticket to avoid disappointment. Mm-hmm. And look, it'll be our first crack at it, so we don't know how it'll go. But
I'm looking forward to it.
We will never know if we don't try.
Absolutely. I think you lot have been hoping for something like this for long enough that the love is going to spill over.
Where can you get the tickets, Mum?
Well, you can go to our Instagram page, The Late Challenge, and you will click on the bio.
Should put it in the description on here or in the comments or something.
Yeah,
we'll sort that out.
We'll do those too.
Yeah.
Or you can go to eventbrite.co.uk and you can search for The Late Challenge Podcast Live, and you'll see our lovely faces and click on the link from there. Those are the two main places. But as I say, we will put a link in the description and one in the comments so you can be sure to find it. Come along. We'll have lots of fun. Who knows? I might even invite Marc Guehi. It might have nothing else to do on a Saturday evening. Who knows?
It's the weekend that we're going to be playing Man City, and so we're expecting that it won't clash with the actual game because it'll get moved because it's a big game and all that kind of stuff. And
it'll be just after the Real Madrid game we were just talking about as well.
So if you're in Liverpool that weekend, come down. If you live here, obviously you can come down anyway. We'll. It should be good. And also as well, just to another little thing that we've been telling people over on Patreon, because they're the people that help to keep the lights on, like I always say, so we tell them first. We're looking to do a few little other things, try things, maybe improve Late Challenge a little bit and stuff like that. And one of the ideas is to try a live show for this Monday show as well. That'll be slightly different. So this is more of an event, the thing in November. This other idea is just a small audience, just to try slightly change the dynamic. So the idea is we'll get a space in Liverpool. We'll let you know when that happens. We'll get maybe 10, 20 people down, not some huge audience. Do the show as normal, but also maybe take some questions from those select few that are in the audience should they turn up. Again, this is just an idea in progress, but the idea is to just slightly do something a little bit different instead of just me and Mo sitting in a room. See how it goes. If we like it, we'll do it again. If it's shite, we won't do it again. But yeah, just so you know about that as well. Bit of TLC news there for you.
All big things are happening in the world of TLC, and all big things.
Tickets are in the comments. Look at that.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that, eh?
See?
Eh?
These
not just a pretty face.
No? Well, these lads are going to be there handling all of the live stuff.
Material Studios for all your recording needs. Mm-hmm. Heartily recommended by The Late Challenge. And as you see, incredibly efficient. They've put the link in the live chat there right now. So if you want to get involved, click the link and get involved.
Absolutely. We've not had time to cover everything we wanted to cover.
It was always going to be a bit mad.
It was always going to be a bit mad. I wanted to say a solid goodbye to Harvey Elliott. I feel like he deserves it. And we're glad to, obviously, we mentioned Joe Gomez. We're glad he stayed. But look, all of the next 2 weeks are going to be filled with all this, the breakdown of how the Guehi move collapsed and what it means for this and what it means for that. Let me tell you something right here, right now. The collapse of this deal is going to be a bigger problem for Crystal Palace than it is for Liverpool. And you know why? Because Liverpool are top of the league. Liverpool have got a fantastic squad. Liverpool have just bought the Swedish master. Now, I don't think you can say much better than that. So we're out. I'm going to drink more Copperberg. Robbo's going to go and have his dinner. We'll see you all next week.
Bye-bye.